Hello everyone, this is Shadow Dragon from the DCUO community, and this weekend wraps up another cycle of Legends PvE, ending with Owen Science Cells and restarting again with the Courthouse. Now, to tell you the truth, I've been almost ignoring this feature for pretty much the entire year, just because they've been keeping us busy with the events. Like, the events have been pretty crazy since the anniversary. Like, I think we had maybe a week off. I forget when we had that week off, but there was like a week where there was no events, but then it was like non-stop after that. And we kind of had another break after Starro/Spring ended, and then we had the DLC launch. Now, it was new content, but it wasn't as overwhelming as having two events at the same time. So I did have a chance to jump back into Legends PvE. But it took like a lot of wear and tear, because I kind of got out of the habit of playing it, and the desire pretty much went away. So what I did was I just kind of looked at where I was with all the counter feats, like just to see if I was close to any of them. Because I think I'm pretty much done with LPvE, as in personally done. I'm nowhere near the 1,000, but we'll take a look at that in a bit. But I'm here just tying up some loose ends. Of course, I turned off interface, so I had to make sure I choose the right one. Okay, so I've had all of the Legends for a long time already. So all I'm missing are the skins, and I have 150 worked out here. I think at the time of shooting this video, I'm probably around 504 LPVs in. So I just earned enough to get another skin. And this will probably be the last one I ever buy. So let's see, there's Classic Batman. This is likely the candidate. Now this is the Jim Aparo style, but the Batman model, of course, is based on Jim Lee's Hush style. So this is kind of a combination of two great Batman artists. Probably missing mostly Batman skins. Yep, missing the New 52 one. Bombshell Harley. Bombshell Supergirl. Arkham Joker. Future Harley. Yeah, it definitely looks like Batman. The classic Batman. There's Dark Knight. This one's pretty good too, but I like the classic one better. Jim Aparo and Jim Lee are two of my favorite artists. So we're gonna go for that. He's also the most expensive, because all the others are 100. Yeah, so that'll definitely deplete my marks. And let's mess around with him in the practice room. So as far as LPvE, I never really played it consistently. I was kind of streaky with it. I would say I played it the most during the Amazon Fury 3 time period. where we had like large content, so there wasn't going to be a release every month. So I got to a point where there was like a daily routine for the content, where I started finishing a lot of the feats and the gear. I was able to turn some attention to Legends PvE, and I would go streaky depending on which one was active. I think it was also during AF3 where they changed the rotation to weekly, and then they had the overlap during the weekend where we would have 2 of them. So I naturally went for either team-ups that I didn't have, or I just spammed like the fast ones and the safe ones. And Owen, being my favorite, is considered one of the safe ones. It just happens to be safe to queue up with. Like pretty much any team makeup can get past it, and if you have at least 2 good team members, it should be no problem. But it's definitely not the fastest. There are a number that are faster than Owen. It's just that Owen is like safer. Like if you factor in possible wipes, and then you average the time out of all of them, Owen will probably still come out like as a safer one than one of the fast ones. But yeah, since all of the events, like I just didn't have time for LPvE. I tried to make time for Owen, but I think during some of the cycles I missed some days of Owen because I just completely forgot about it. It fell out of my routine. But let's take a look at the counter feats. Legends PvE. So I actually thought I was going to stop at the 500 mark, which is Legends Master 4. I got Legends Master 4 and Men of Legends 3, that's 250 male legends, at the same time. And shortly before that, I completed Legends of the Night and Legends of Steel. These 2 were during the most recent Owen run, Owen week from the previous week. And these 2, I really pushed it. Like, I must have run around 10 of these, like 10 Owens one day for Legends of the Night, and maybe another 10 for Legends of Steel, just because they were close, and I just wanted to get them over with. And working those 2 naturally worked towards these 2. So yeah, after I completed those, then I looked at where I was with the rest of the lists, and I'm pretty far away from most of these. Also taking into consideration how many legends are available for each of these. Like Legends of Arcane, you pretty much have to use Dr. Fate or Felix Faust. Now, if Circe was part of this list, you know, another 24 might not seem that big to me, because I enjoy using her, but not the other 2. So that kind of factors into a lot of these lists and categories, especially to the ones that have very few choices. Women of Legend 3, I think I'm too far away from this one. Like, I mean, I'm sure this doesn't seem far away to everyone, but for my own taste and where I am right now with this psychologically. Legends of Light, I'm not too big of a lantern fan. There are a lot of lanterns available, and I'm actually good with a few of them. But I just don't enjoy playing them, as in getting into the character. Sinestro is great, actually, as a video game character, but I'm just not a fan of him in the comics. Just not too much into lanterns, so this 38 seems high to me. Heroes of Legend, this one I can go for, because it's a general category. Just have to use heroes, and 7 more times, that's not too bad. I'm not going to get it this time around because it's already Sunday, and I am not going to play this anymore. So I'll just get this one over time eventually, but I think after this 7, I'm done with LPvE. Villains of Legend 3. This is a bit far away. And I think between the heroes and the villains, I enjoy using the heroes a bit more. There are a bunch of villains that are on my favorites list, but this does seem too far away. Like, it wouldn't be fun for me to farm this one out. Legends of Truth. This one is sort of in the middle. 31 left. Out of the Wonder Woman heroes, Wonder Woman characters, I mean, I enjoy using Wonder Woman, and she has 2 skins. It's not too bad, but I'd probably have to reevaluate this one, but at this point I think I just want the 7 heroes, and I don't even want to do this one. Legends of Steel, definitely too far away. I mean, the Kryptonians are fun. I like most of them, actually. But 150 more of those? No thanks, especially after running 10 in a row recently. Now, Men of Legend, I just got the 3 for this, so 250 more of those. I don't even want to think about 250. Legends Master, well, at least they put in a breakpoint before the 1000, but I'm not playing 250 of these. Legends of Night, just like Steel, just got those, and I'm not doing 150 of those. As big a Batman fan as I am, I actually don't like the Bat family as much. I probably like the Superman family better as far as Legends go. For Batman characters, I mean, I like Batman, Huntress, and Catwoman. But for like the Superman characters, I pretty much like all of them, because they're all pretty similar, especially the villains. Like, the villains have pretty cool variants of the heat vision. Legends of Archer, like, this one's just 25, but it just lacks a cast. Like, I think it's only Green Arrow and Deathstroke, and I'm good with neither of them. To get to the 25, I was basically spamming Deathstroke, so for the tail end of that, like, I actually got pretty good with Deathstroke, but he's not someone that I normally would use, unless there's like a team up or checklist. So if I use him a lot, I'm good with him, but then I just kind of forget how to use him. Yeah, so this is just one of the lists that doesn't have enough characters. Same case with Legends of Speed. Like, for these 26, it's only Flash. So, and I spammed these. I think I got all 26 in one of like the previous Owen runs. Like, I just waited for Owen, and I just kept on using Flash. Definitely a strong legend, but I'm just not as big a fan to like keep spamming one character for that. So that's where I am. The only short list is the 7 heroes. That's the only one that I really want to complete. And even that one not too badly, because I just feel burned out after this week. But I think this is going to stick, because just running LPvE over 500 times since launch, that might not seem a lot, especially for the people who finished, because there are actually people who finished some of these lists. But it's a bit too much for me. There are a lot of modes in this game, and this is just not on the top of the list for me.
What took you so long? Brainiac's attack on the emotional spectrum has done a number on the central power battery of OA and caused a bunch of fractures in the science cells. The main containment door over there lost power and the prisoners are busting out of the joint. I need you to hold them off while I power it back up.
Science cell power at 75%.
So what you're seeing here in the background is my 502nd LPvE run. So this is just when I finished some of the other categories, and I'm just casually working the hero feat. Now the hero counter is actually okay, because that's enough of a set where I could find like fun characters to play. Like the hero set is big, and so is the villain set. It's just some of the smaller categories that are a bit
power at 25%.
So this will sort of be my exit review of Legends PvE. So this content actually sounded really good when we first heard about it, because I felt like the one-player ones were pretty fun, and they were a good introduction to the Legends characters for many of us who never played this mode, because previously Legends were only in player versus player, which catered to a small part of the community. So naturally the first two I learned were Huntress and Bizarro, followed by Wonder Woman and Circe.
Whoops! Your face got in the way of my fist!
So those of us who got really good with the one-player ones were often giving tips to other players who were just starting out, or who weren't used to using Legends. And one of the things that was really difficult about kind of teaching that was because it was only one player. Like there's no way for another player to get in there and show others how to get past something. And the thing that comes to mind was that feat at the end of the Circe one where you had to keep the pet alive. And this was, of course, before the adjustments, before it was made easy and all. So, I mean, had this been like a 4-player thing, you could easily just, or 2-player even, you could just queue up and then kind of demonstrate things. So the thought of having like 4-player alerts using Legends characters sounded like a great idea, and it sounded like it was going to be a lot of fun.
Disabled.
So it's just amazing thinking about it. Like this is an excellent game mode if you think about like just the gameplay itself. Legends PvE 4-player alerts are actually pretty fun, but it's just amazing that like something like this could be ruined by a simple feat list, and that's pretty much what I think happened here. It just got killed by the feats, because if you think about this, like all the different categories and everything, if we just played this freely, it would definitely be pretty fun. Like we wouldn't be restricted to playing certain characters every time, and trying to force playing this a certain amount of times. Yeah, because I remember like before we got like the full list of the 12, we were just kind of waiting for the next one to come out, and then the list of feats. And on day one, like some of the players who wanted all the feats, like they were just doing all the team-ups and all the checklists on day one and replaying everything. I didn't quite go that extreme. Like I would just do a different one every day, or even skip a day sometimes. But yeah, just the team-up lists. I mean, there was the team-ups, there was the list of overall team-ups, and then there were 2 checklists, one for heroes and one for villains. Those really steered us into pretty much never using the characters we wanted to. And even when that was done, we would be helping out other players by using characters that we don't want to play. So that alone, that's probably the biggest factor that kind of made these not fun for me. Like even now, if you try to form a team to queue up for one of these, there's always going to be someone that's missing a feat, and of course you want to help, so you end up using a character that you don't want to play. But yeah, like I said before, it's mainly the categorized counters that I have a problem with. If we just kept like the bigger ones, the overall one is fine, even though it's at 1,000. like if we didn't have the smaller ones and just the overall one ended at 1,000, I don't think anyone would have complaints about this. Because that's definitely reachable over time. And like for myself, I'm up to 500 now, but that's because I was discouraged from playing this because of the other feats. But if it was just, if we just had a free 1,000, like just free to play whatever tune we wanted to, I'd probably be close to that 1,000 because I definitely would have played this more. But yeah, definitely the checklist and team-ups kind of killed it, and the categorized counters. If we're looking at the different counter feats, the only ones I would keep are the overall one that just counts all gameplay. I think the heroes one and the villains one are large enough categories that they would be okay. Maybe not end them at 1,000 though, because you just want that overlap and then have it end. The other one that's probably okay is male and female. There's probably close to an even split in the legends between male and female. But beyond that, I wouldn't have done the other categories. Because even the larger ones, like let's say the Bat family, for example, there are a lot of players that are not Batman fans, and they wouldn't have fun spamming that one. So I would draw the line at the ones that are sort of 50% divisions. Hero, villain, male and female, and then the overall. I would just leave it at that. Now the other thing is, you might think, or initially if it launched like that, the devs might feel that it doesn't have enough longevity. I think they were kind of thinking that this would last probably 10 years, or I think someone calculated 14 years, or something crazy like that at one point. But I just think there are other ways to keep this going without having like the crazy categorized counters, and even if you strip the checklists and stuff. I mean, there are a lot of skill points in this, like because of the checklist, but I'm just talking about fun factor. If we strip those out, you can certainly add more breakpoints in the counter feats to kind of make up for that. And you would of course leave all of the instance feats in there, because those were pretty cool. Let's see. So some of the other things that would kind of motivate me to play Legends PvE more are, one thing is definitely the loot table. Like the loot table is just terrible compared to other instances. I mean, all you're getting here basically is a Legends mark per boss, and then you have a chance of getting an okay piece of furniture. Like, it's not even iconic, or most aren't that great. And then you're playing these other instances where you get like good furniture from an ad. So that's pretty lopsided here. If this just dropped multiple pieces of furniture, that would be a huge plus for me. But like you could play one of these without even getting a base item. And there's also no loot picker. Like you just get what you get. So that's another thing. If they put the loot picker per boss here, that would certainly help motivate. Because if you get multiple pieces of loot, like in the or a choice of one, like in some of these other instances, whether you're farming materials or you're building a base, there are just multiple points of motivation. But in Legends PvE, there's just almost nothing in here. And you especially need motivation after you gain all the legends, because that's your initial goal when you're playing this. You're trying to get some of the legends, and then you get them for a future cycle where you're using them. So in that sense, there was longevity. where like when you're first starting this, you just have Robin, or if you're a villain, you just have Harley, and you probably have Batman for a promo, and you're just working your way up. So the first cycle you're not going to have everyone. You're not going to be able to get all the feats.
Yeah, I'm Kryptonian.
So in that sense, like there are going to be a number of cycles where people are working this. But yeah, then once you have like one of each legend, like not counting the skins, I mean your motivation could be the skins if you're into that. But there's not much else. Like once you have all of them, then you're pretty much just working the counters. It needs like additional motivation, and that definitely would have helped me play it more.
Inertial restriction field disabled.
Now, one of my other ideas for trying to keep LPvE engaging is scaling unattuned gear and alternate progression. Now, they couldn't have thought of this like in the beginning because they didn't have this feature from the other content quite yet. But it definitely makes sense to do something like that. And this of course addresses the loot table issue as well. I don't think it really hurts to have another piece of scaling unattuned gear as a reward. You could put like I think a daily lock on that would be fair. Yeah, because there are a lot of dailies we do now for scaling unattuned gear that are much less effort. This is an alert level too. So, you know, what they could do is for the mid-bosses address the base item issue or throw in some other things like the out of relevancy rewards as well. But maybe for the final boss you get a piece of scaling unattuned gear. And since there's always an LPvE active, it means there's a chance for free-to-play and premium to get something every day just by doing this. And these are events anyway, so they should kind of scale in the way that the other events do, the other modern events. And if you think about like alerts and stuff, Legends PvE it's harder than like the general Starro stuff that we had. Certainly you were getting gear with much less effort there and much faster. So that's why I don't think it would hurt to have it here. Like if they had that, I would certainly play this like once a day to get maybe even that might even tempt me to bring alts into this. And normally, like because of the counter feats, the way to play this is to just run your main through them, because pretty much any run you go off of your main is a waste. But like if this had real loot, it makes it a whole different animal. And my last idea for Legends PvE, and this one is really extreme, like it would have to be a wildly successful mode to constitute this type of feature. But I was thinking that it could be like another motivating factor could be like you're playing your favorite characters, but maybe there needs to be like a level of progression with your favorite characters, similar to Injustice 2. Because basically what they did there was Injustice 2 is basically the MMOification of a fighting game, because they added like progression, customization, and gear. Now we have that in regular PvE with our own characters, but what if we could upgrade the gear of our favorite legends? That would certainly be a big motivation for playing LPvE and getting those counters up. If, say, we're now in the second video because this is dragging on too long. So I actually recorded another one just in case, so this is my 503rd run. But in this example, I'm using Wonder Woman. So let's say I play her a certain amount of time, so there's like a counter for that character, but not a counter towards a feat, just a counter for progression. So if I play her a certain number of times, like maybe I get an upgraded style. Now this is expensive because an artist would have to make like multiple styles per legend, and it would basically be like creating Injustice 2 in this game. But I think that's a really cool idea, and it would definitely motivate players to continue playing this. So yeah, that's definitely extreme because the legends here aren't made to swap in gear. They kind of have their own custom ones, and that goes back to like a lot of feedback on the forums. Whenever we see a new legends, we kind of request everything for our characters that look like it, but it's not always possible because like legends are customized specifically for like that character, that size, and they might have parts that are overlapping into other slots that wouldn't work for a regular character. So yeah, that's why the gear probably wouldn't work on them. But if it happened to, like, I think a good test would be to kind of farm it out on a handful of the most popular ones, like just to see if it's successful, if it's able to catch a user base. But yeah, I think even with one character, it's probably a lot of work. But it would definitely be a cool idea if it was possible, based on the success of Injustice 2. Yeah, so I think that kind of sums up my feedback. I mean, I realize that this is sort of a snap judgment of Legends PvE after the week of just spamming Owen. So naturally, I'm tired of it after that. But I really don't think I'll recover from this for a very long time. And especially when I'm looking forward to the future content in the schedule. We have the summer event coming up, and they mentioned that we're getting a new large event September-ish. So there's not much of a break between that because the summer event is probably going to go through July. So August is possibly the last relaxing period. Then you figure like another large content September. If that runs for 1 month, it's going to run into, we might have some time off before Halloween. If it runs for 2 months like the Starro event, which by the way I think is way too long. There's going to be some overlap into the Halloween if it goes 2 months. And then you've got Christmas shortly after that, and possibly another episode. So I mean, that's a pretty stacked schedule, and I just see no room for Legends PvE anymore after that. So I'm definitely at a good stopping point, and I really don't think I'll go back to it. And we're actually close to the end of the run in this video, so I'll let this play out. Yeah, basically these two Owen runs are after my 500th, so I'm only restricted to heroes. So at this point, it's kind of fun now. I just wish more of the 500 run was this fun. Because in these two videos here, I'm using two of my favorite legends, Supergirl, and that's the Melissa Benoist skin, and this is Bombshell Wonder Woman. So these are two of the newer skins of the set, so they're a bit more detailed than some of the classic legends.
In the name of peace.
But yeah, when I go back and think about, you know, the 500 runs I did, maybe only a handful were actually fun, like picking the legend that I want to use and just kind of playing freely. A lot of it were just handcuffed, and obviously you could choose to ignore it, but I don't know, that's not the way a gamer thinks. Like, you give us a list, we're going to go for it, especially if it awards something that goes towards progression. So I'll sign it off here. This has gone on long enough, but it's at the end of the run, so I'll go ahead and let this Owen video complete. So until the next video, thanks for listening and watching.
Malfunction. Science cell inertial restriction field reversed.
Prisoner 000001. Krona released.
For millennia, I have remained in that cell to rot. The Guardians, their core. All of you will pay! You dare challenge me, machine? I wrote your code. Command override. 7, 2, Krona, Alpha, 4. Attack!
Override recognized. Legacy subroutines engaged. No man escapes from Krona.
Long before the Guardians created the rings, I was the first to harness the power of will. I was the one that gave birth to it all. Behold my gauntlet!
Order!
Far better than you have failed to defeat me.
The Batman.
I will preserve the balance.
By the gods. In the name of peace.
Order! Victor!
Try again, Warrior.
The lights will burn the darkness. You will succumb to the hand of fate.
Is not in the Krona. The Batmans will fall. Oa will be mine. Earth will be mine. And the day of my return.
Inertial restriction field disabled.